And now, the KAIST CBE podcast.
Hello guys,
Hi,
this is KAIST CBE podcast again.
in
And-
English again.
Yay! Yes, and this is Hiwan.
And I'm Seokwon.
Alright. Okay, today we have a very special and awesome guest from chemistry department,
Of
Professor of KAIST of our school, Professor David Chucill.
Woo!
Did I pronounce it?
That's
okay?
correct.
All right.
Oh.
Okay. Yes. Welcome.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining our podcast.
It's a real pleasure to be here and to talk with students.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
I love talking with students, although
Oh.
it always seems like we're rushing around and a bit too busy. But
Yes.
yeah, I don't get a chance to come over to this department very much.
Uh-huh.
So it's like an alternate universe
Oh.
to the chemistry department in some ways. So
Nice. Yes.
yeah, so I'd love to talk to you a bit about what I think it takes to be a graduate student, and maybe a little bit about my own research, although I don't want to put people to sleep, and
Yes.
and how I think things connect to each other, and maybe my own perspective.
Yes.
I don't want to talk too much about my own failures
Oh.
because there are so few. No kidding. There's many failures, and that's an integral part of learning. And
Wow.
we were just talking before we started filming about how maybe at the undergraduate level, somebody said, I don't know who it was, but they said that the undergraduate experience is learning how to learn, and the graduate experience is learning how to fail.
Wow.
So learning how to fail
I think
means
it's so true. Yes.
that means that means if you're not failing as a graduate student, then your project's too easy. Well, I suppose it's possible that you fail only infrequently, but the more you fail, the more you can really kind of pick apart and dissect what's wrong and kind of do an autopsy on the situation and figure out like the parameters involved. Usually, it's kind of a like parameterization of the issue, and then what do we optimize. I think it's a bit like more like that here in our department. We're kind of making molecules a lot of the times. So sometimes, well, usually in our lab, for example, we're looking at an NMR spectrum, and for example, and we're trying to figure out what was formed. It's sometimes not what you expected, and that's when the learning comes in, and the student really, you can see them really kind of taking charge of the situation when you help them through the first situation where the product was unexpected. So that's one example where you really learn a lot, and it seems like you failed, like you didn't get what you planned to get. But interestingly, sometimes those products are more interesting.
Right.
They're more interesting than what you want, and then it kind of brings the research into it along a different direction. So so that's and we were just talking casually about about the graduate student experience.
Experience.
And I just wanted to say that you walk through the door and you take classes and you pick a lab, and so that's really the beginning of something wonderful. It's all about your attitude, and you have to go through a process, and it's not really clear what that is. The process is going to make you competent, and is going to give you a skill set and some expertise. But what you really want to do is read the literature. I think that's, if there's one thing I can recommend, and because I recommend it, I also take it upon myself to try my best, because it's not easy, and it's not easy because the research papers are not always very well written, or clear, or not always. You can read the abstracts, for example, but the title abstract and so forth, but that doesn't always give you all the information.
Right.
So if there's one point I would make, is if you're really serious about going through PhD, and then coming out the other end as a real supercharged individual, then I would say that you better start your day reading papers.
Yeah.
So you after you have your vegetable juice, you better look at the internet. Everything's on the internet almost.
Right.
Well, I think why don't we say everything's on the internet?
Oh, okay. All right.
Even the old textbooks.
Uh-huh.
So if you can kind of carve out your own area and every morning read the new papers in that area, then that will that's information. So you're well informed, and then there's people attached to those papers, right? So then you gotta get to know who they are, and I suppose you can go all the way and buy them dinner and buy them some wine or beer or something.
Wow.
But you don't have to go that far all the time. But it's a community. You find yourself. You have to make your own community.
Right.
And we were just talking about how if I mention my research, it will seem a little foreign to me because I wasn't always doing what I'm doing now. So you kind of develop what you do. What I do happens to be, at the moment, molecular probing and molecules that can be, I guess, labeled as organoselenium chemistry and phosphate-related chemistry, and then also gadolinium MRI contrast agent type chemistry. So that's some technical names for you, to some jargon. But basically. A lot of that's new or just kind of reworked or something. One project happens to be from my graduate days of my proposal. So but it's much different from what it used to be. But the general idea was there.
Oh wow!
So I think the sooner you can find an interesting topic and sort of keep a long-term interest and do the necessary reading. I recommend kind of that schedule for yourself.
I mean, like reading really helps. How to it can teach us how to write a good journals as well. So I think reading is really important as a graduate student.
It's a guideline.
So eventually, when you do a lot of reading, you'll see what's missing or what they intended to do but they couldn't do, and you can start to sort of read between the lines, as they say.
Between the lines.
And that's going to that's like your investment. If you can do
investment.
Even I am struggling, but you can, if you do 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 hours of reading, in a day, or at least 1 hour or 2 hours, then you can feel like you're on top of your more on top of your field. And what that means is instead of really struggling to come up with proposal ideas, that you kind of like during when you're sleeping, you can sleep on it. If you do a lot of reading the next day, you can kind of make connections. So that's kind of the next thing I want to mention is you can make a lot of different connections. I think people in their lab they feel like they are, working at what's the cafe?
Cafe?
Smoothie King.
Smoothie King. Be sure to go to Smoothie King. Okay, it's in this building. I just got a coupon.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, people working at Smoothie King have these, they're globbing the juice and everything, and that's mechanical work. But somebody was designing what they should do and which juice what the formulations are. So I think with lab work, there's like a blue collar aspect where you have to get your lab coat on and scoop the globs of things, and then there's the white collar aspect where you're kind of sitting down and planning things out, and then that plan comes from your reading. So, and then eventually you'll rise above the blue collar, the so-called blue collar work of getting really dirty and smelly, at least in the chemistry department. I think it's also true here. Yeah. Similar, yeah. So, so connections between things. Then that brings me to just your life as being a social life. Also in the department, people are working on different projects. Let me ask you, how often do you talk with your neighboring lab people, and not just talk, but intellectually talk? You know, we can criticize. Well, we should have more. We should have more intellectual discussions. I think that's always true.
Right.
You know, and not all night long, but you know, for a while. And then you can really see. I mean, it doesn't take that long. It doesn't take that long to make a new, interesting possible connection. All it takes is you going. You know, if you're serious about your area, but you want to try something new, you just go to some kind of very different area, or some different symposium, or you just talk in detail with some guy who's in a very different area from you, and then you can start to see what's missing or how to connect, or maybe it's impossible to connect, or maybe it's unnecessary to connect, or you find what's possible and what's unnecessary quite easily, quite quickly, and that's the human connection. So don't forget, like the papers, right, have authors, and those people are all human beings, right? So,
human beings. Yes.
And then the reviewers that review your manuscripts, they're also human beings. So they always seem like they're being cruel, but they're being trying to assess your work. So what that means, you should never. It's natural to feel bad when you get rejected, but my advice is to try to get to the other side and to accept the criticism as this. Somebody spent about an hour reading your paper, and now it's in their brain, and they tried to give you some feedback. So you should be thankful for that time, right? I mean, that somebody in the world spent time with your work. So now they know more about you. Maybe they didn't like it, or they criticized that, or they did like it. Maybe they do like it. But that's a moment where you know you're kind of reaching out without you doing anything. You just sent your manuscript, and other people are doing the blue collar work, the grunt work, the donkey work, as they say.
Donkey work.
Donkey work.
Wow, interesting.
Carrying carrying the burden.
Like the
basically.
burdens.
Yeah,
Oh
right.
yes. I mean, like I think I was never thankful about thankful to the reviewers for looking at my papers. I was just
I feel
like,
thankful to them.
You are? Okay, all right. I mean, yeah, I never thought about that. Now I yeah.
Yeah, there's a different side to everything. There's the submission, the submitting people, and then there's the reviewers and the editor. You know, they're sitting on the other side of the table, but you can sort of put yourself in that position. Eventually, you don't have to bother to do it very often now, but you can see, they're getting submissions from everywhere. So I guess that intellectually you can think, what are they thinking? What is the competition? So how do I make my work, more higher on their list? So there's a lot of things to think about. And with writing and preparing manuscripts, it's a big process. Another thing I can mention in that along those lines is just that when you're writing in English, you probably feel kind of unworthy or something like that. What I mean is just it feels like you have insufficient ability. But I caution. I should say that it's much more important that you have a scientific logic to your thinking, and even if you don't know any English, you kind of can transfer that over, and you have a kind of proper layout of your paper, and then proposals that are written all have a sort of different format maybe, but if the logic is missing, but the English is perfect, then that's also unsatisfactory. You need to have a kind of framework and then a logic. So I should tell you that don't worry about English. You just try your best, and if people are almost perfectly bilingual, that's really, really wonderful. If you're on the road to being bilingual, that's also really wonderful too, because I'm trying to learn Korean.
Oh, you are? Oh, wow.
Yeah,
yes.
it's I'm sort of there.
Sort of.
Sort of there. Some
There.
days I'm there. Some days I'm not there. But I can I can identify with the problem. Yeah. You feel there's such an interference with
Right.
trying to explain yourself.
Yes,
But I should say that sometimes if you don't know a language really, really well, sometimes the way you say something is interesting or to the point. So people that know English really well, they'll chit chat all day long over coffee, and they'll enjoy the sound of their own voice, and then there's just less substance to that. So I think if you're earnestly trying to learn English and you're scientific, what I find is people try to get to the point. It's sometimes a little disorganized, but again, that's part of the process. Kind of reorganizing your thoughts, and so so KAIST is really has everything you need. Sometimes we're unhappy when we don't have something that we think we want, but but I can see that we have a lot, and we're trying to keep that level, but we have everything you could possibly want is here in some way. Or if you think you really need something different or new, you can request it with that justification carefully, and then it's good. There's no excuses.
Yes.
I think what I'm saying is the limitation is your attitude and your kind of self-discipline.
Self-discipline.
So I think if you're wondering what's wrong, that's probably what's wrong. Okay.
Wondering is the problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why isn't my research so? To go, what's stopping you from calling up the world's expert or trying to email somebody directly? I suppose I encourage my students to just go as far as they can by themselves, and even if it seems a little bit too much, but if they don't learn how to be self-dependent, then it's almost too late. So I recommend just trying to be very. It seems that you're aggressive, but what it really is you're assertive. If you think you're being aggressive from your point of view, then you're probably only going halfway, because you seem like self-conscious, right?
Self-conscious.
Right? We're talking about like the barrier. The professor's too inaccessible. Well, so then if you're too outspoken, then you feel like you've done too much or you've said too much. But I think it's opposite. Like you haven't done enough. So I encourage you to be outspoken. And then everybody can see, what you don't know, what you know, and then there's a starting point. If you're trying to conceal what you don't know, then this is a training ground. I really think this is where we're supposed to fall flat on our face, and then help each other get up, and then that's the kind of KAIST I want. And it's here, it's already here, but we just can keep a list of what's important and how to just be, do our best.
Wow. That was really, actually, that really made me think about my life as a graduate student.
Me too.
Yes. Actually, we already, ran out of our times, but yeah, we really want to have some more talk with Professor, but
It was like a TED.
What? TEDx?
TED.
Do you know what TED is? Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it.
Yes. Like, really popular speaker. Like on the stage, they
Really
give talk.
popular
Oh, okay.
speaker.
Yes. Thank you. I mean, thank you for giving us such a precious
Helpful
advice and helpful advice to the students here. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
think
you're welcome. Absolutely welcome. And please spread the word. Whatever you think is important is probably important. So, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your great time.
Amazing.
All right. Okay, so next time I guess we'll see you guys again with
Someone
who's again special guest, I guess. We'll see you guys
always
again.
special guest.
All right. See you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, watching our podcast.
Bye.
Bye.